folks, Ned here with Vapor Clean, service technician, and we're in the service shop, and I want to go over getting started with a Desiderio unit. Basically, right out of the box, you'll have your base reservoir. It's going to come on the machine and clip down. What you want to do is fill up both your water reservoir here, which is your chemical side, or a non-foaming soap or detergent you can put in here, and then fill this all the way up with nothing but water. That's the only thing you want to use is water in this side right here for your boiler. You don't want to put anything in your boiler. The base you unclip, and you're going to want to put enough clean water in there to reach this minimum level. All right, and when it gets to max, you definitely want to empty it out and just refill back to the minimum, because brief explanation, if you can see right here, this cone has sensor pins in it, and if those sensor pins get wet, they sense that the water level is getting too high in the base, and it'll shut down your vacuum. And so with that being said, you want to make sure that you keep your water levels low. And if you happen to by accident use a foaming agent, or if you're doing carpet for the first time with a lot of soap in it, you want to check that quite often and empty it quite often, because when you clean carpet, you're going to get a lot of soap residue if you've ever had it cleaned before, and you'll know it, because what you're going to have is it'll blow foam out of the back of the unit here. This is the exhaust port for your vacuum. If you want to, what you can do is put a little bit of vinegar in your water here, and that'll keep soap from foaming up so much while you're in use. So right out of the box, you're going to want to obviously plug in the unit and fill up both your reservoirs here, and then you'll hear the machine when you turn it on, which is your main power button, your green power button. Okay, and then these two buttons right here, one is a heater, and then this is a superheat. So when you turn that on, you're going to hear a pumping sound inside, and that's the water pump taking water from this reservoir and filling your boiler up. And then the superheater, now that, once the unit is heated, this will turn off and on a consistent basis. It only turns on when the machine needs it. And then when it's up to basically full pressure, you're going to see the needle at a 12 o'clock position. Your steam regulator valve is right here. This allows you to adjust the amount of steam that you get out of the end of the hose when you're using it. And something to realize, a lot of people think differently, I guess, but this isn't a pressure washer. So it's not always full blast steam that you want to use to clean something. You can use a lower rate of steam and it'll work just the same, and it keeps the pressure up on the gauge and in the boiler for a longer period of time. So that would normally be effective in a situation where you have like a regular Desiderio that has a boiler cap and you have to refill it after it's empty. With a continuous fill, it doesn't really matter much. So again, what we've got water in the base of a reservoir, and then we're going to set the unit on top and make sure it's setting down properly. The back wheels to the back of the unit, front wheels to the front, and go ahead and clip it down. Without this being attached and clipped down, if you go to use the vacuum pump function of the machine, you're not going to get a suction. This is part of the whole works of the system to get the vacuum that you do. This unit right here, serial number 005059, is a unit that has been returned. Basically, the people thought that it didn't do the job that they wanted it for, and that we're going to show you what it really can do here. Because a lot of times, and I did the same thing when I got my first machine 9 years ago, I didn't really understand how to use it, and so I didn't understand the attachments, and I want to kind of give you an idea that it's generally not the unit that's going to be an issue. It's going to be the fact that you need a little bit of instruction to figure out what you're going to use the machine for and how or what attachments you need for that. So when you get the machine out, your hose. You've got the hole here, which goes into the front port, and you plug it in, push it down, and it locks into place. On your handle, you have an injection, you have a vacuum, and you have a steam. And all three of these functions can work at the same time if need be, but you generally don't do that all three at the same time. So what I'm going to do is show you, a lot of people get confused, or what we call confuse the circuit board, by constantly pushing the vacuum button, and eventually the machine will just shut down because it's not really certain what you want it to do. It's a real simple push start and then a push off. So let's do the vacuum real quick, and it's push. And you can see the cyclonic action down here in the bottom. And a push to shut it off. Now I'm going to turn this head a different direction so I'm not blowing steam everywhere. Push button steam. Now you push this and hold it to continue your steam. And you're going to get water at first. Right there I got the valve on the back. The regulator valve is closed. Okay, so I'm going to adjust it to open it. And initially you're going to get water out of the line, and then it will turn to a more to steam. So and then just release the trigger to stop the steam. And if you heard that pump is what your continuous fill is for. As the boiler releases more water and more steam, you'll hear the pump action sending in spurts of water into the boiler. Okay, now your injection, what you're going to get when your injection is running, you're going to turn it to the minus sign, which is on, and then 0 is off. If you don't remember to turn this switch off, it will empty the entire reservoir of water or liquid that you have in there. It'll keep on running. It's a toggle switch for on off, and it'll stay on, not like the push button and not like the vacuum. So you're going to initially get a dribble. It's not like a pressure washer of injection. It's not anything like that, but you can also steam with it. As the water's coming through, you can hit the steam button and you'll see it's a more saturated steam. And this is what you want to use when you're cleaning carpet. Steam alone will clean spots on carpet, but it will not clean, or small spots I should say, but it will not clean as well as the injection with the steam. So you want to saturate the carpet, and then in a little bit I'll do a small area, and then we'll use one of the one of the attachments here so you can see what I'm talking about. Steaming and injecting and then vacuuming it back up with one of the attachments. So anyway, I'm going to turn on the injector so you can see the water come out as it will, and then I'm going to hit the steam, and what's going to happen is the steam is coming behind the water from the injection. So the water's through this whole hose line, and the steam is going to push out that stream of water, and then it's going to be a mix of water and steam combination. Okay, so here we go with the injection. I'm going to turn it on, and then when it gets to the point where it's low enough, the sensor will pick up. It'll be a constant beep that you hear, or a constant alarm that's letting you know that your switch is still on, but you are out of water in your injection, so you want to just refill that, and that'll be done. So here we go with the injection, and that's the secondary pump that you're hearing right now, which is going to start to force the water out. Okay, and that's what you get. It's not much more than that. And then I'm going to push the steam so we watch it push it all through. And now you've got a combination, as you can see, you're getting a combination of saturated water and steam. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Okay. Now, we also have, with our Desiderio Pluses, we also offer a steam-only hose, okay, which allows you a longer, narrower hose to get more detail work done, and it's not as cumbersome as this, and it does not have a vacuum. You can switch it out very easily, and let me just do that real quick. So you take your time, open this flap, and there's a push button on this side. You have to push this button in because there's a catch right here. And you just slowly wiggle it back and forth until it pops out. Leave that there. And since this does not have vacuum, it fits only in the electrical side or the steam port side, and it matches that area. You push it in and lock it. And what you can get with this is going to be the combination of steam and injection, or just simply steam, or just simply injection. So here is going to be the steam. All right, and here will be the injection. There you go. All right. And I will do the steam and injection at the same time as well. So I will push down the blue button so it's injecting, and then I'll push the steam on button. Both of these buttons are toggle switches, so they're on off. You need to shut them off so your machine doesn't just keep pumping water or steam out. Here we go with the injection and then the steam. Shut off the injection. That's steam only. And you can see how much drier the steam is without the injection. You'll also notice that the steam gets very, very clear looking or blue. That's basically what we call is a drier steam, high heat, low saturation steam. And we use this type of unit right here if you're just doing like kitchens and bathrooms or something with grout. No real need to use the bigger hose unless you're doing a floor, which you're going to want to vacuum up the water or the dirt afterwards. Okay, so now let's remove this. All right, we're going to reinstall our other hose, and we will be right back. I'm going to set up just a terrible old mat from a really old truck, and just give you an idea. We have no intentions on being able to perfectly clean this, but give you an idea of what you need to do that type of cleaning. So here we go. We'll be back in just a minute. Thanks. All right. So before I actually go to the other hose, some of the nice things about the injection with the smaller hose. You know, like for auto detailers, it'd be a great thing for doing rims or something like that, or tight detail areas with just a tip, and possibly you know, some of the detail brushes, whether it be brass, nylon, or stainless. And we do have horsehair as well on some of the equipment. Anyhow, with this being said, with the tips, what I wanted to do was show you. There's a lot of misinformation, and a lot of people get easily confused. Companies out there just talking about stuff that they really don't seem to know about. But anyhow, steam pressure, absolute steam, you know, there's a bunch of different ways to look at it. Basically, it works out, you know, heat creates steam, creates pressure, and temperature. You know, you're looking at a boiler that can only heat so much is going to create a certain amount of pressure. It's not going to be any higher than that. It's not going to be any lower than that. It's just going to be simple. A certain temperature is going to create a certain pressure, and that's all there is to it. So for instance, this is 318 degree unit. You know, it's a 5-bar unit. Pressure is, I think, 72 psi. That's it. That's all you're going to get. It's cut, dry, and simple. This, you know, we're not going to sit here and say that this machine is 355 degrees and be a 5-bar unit, because it wouldn't work. It'd have to be a higher bar unit if it was that high of a temperature. So, you know, most of the time you don't need the extreme heat that, you know, people are generating on the internet. This is an average just orange juice bottle, and I want to show you at 318 degrees in just a couple seconds what it can do to this bottle. So I want you to see this real quick, and we'll go from there. Can you see that? Is that on the? Okay. that's not hot enough for anything that you need, I don't know what would be. That's just an example. So let not be fooled out there. If you need information, we'll be happy to help you with it and go from there. All right, I'm going to shut this off, pause it a minute, and I'm going to switch over to the other hose and we'll start again. All right, folks, Ned here again back at the Vapor Clean Service Center. Back here with our Desideria Plus unit, and there's a lot of different things you can do with the unit. This is only some of the attachments, carpet and upholstery detail tools, different brushes that we use for detail around grout and some certain cleaning, brass, stainless, and nylon. Brushes like this for, say for example, a grill. It's a nice tight bristle that comes in stainless and brass. Nylon and horsehair with an attachment that can be used that you can vacuum through it as well. This would be for like your leather upholstery and stuff like that, which is very, very gentle on the upholstery. And carpet turbo brush, different stuff that we can use to get an idea of what we're doing. So I'm going to set this stuff off to the side. And what I'm going to do is I just took a floor mat that I don't think's been cleaned in since 2003. Matter of fact, I'm certain of it because it's one of my vehicles, my work vehicles. But and there's no way to actually get this thing perfectly clean because it's had grease and battery stains on it and everything like that. But it's a very, very dirty carpet. And so to give you an idea of what we're going to do, when you're cleaning something like this, and I need to kind of clamp this down because I won't be able to get it to stay in place while I'm doing this unless I do put a couple things on it. And I probably still won't be able to do it that way, but we'll give it our best shot. What you want to do is I'm going to actually show you the Clearview carpet tool, and then I'm going to go to the upholstery tool because I personally like this one better. It's a smaller area, but it actually does what I like to do a little bit better. It's got a stronger pull from the vacuum. You get a lot more, and you'll see when we start getting dirt in our clear water down here immediately what it'll pull out. So Clearview, I'm just going to go over it. I'm going to steam and inject at the same time, and you just put your attachment on like that. And I'm going to give it some steam and injection. I'm going to go over it and get it a little saturated with both. And then I'm just going to pull it back out. I want you to look at the Clearview and see, what you're pulling out for some of the dirt, and then just kind of pay attention to what we're getting in here. Then I'll switch over to the other tool. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the injection. I'll start getting some drippage out of the bottom of the unit here. And you don't really need to soak it, but you do want to saturate it. So your first couple passes are going to be with steam and water. You want to make sure that you're using that combination because steam alone will not get the stuff out of the carpet. So I'm going to steam. I'm just going to go back and forth a couple times here. No real big deal. Get a little steam on there. And then I'm going to shut the injection off, not use the steam, and I'm going to go ahead and vacuum. I want you to pay attention to what you see right here. So turn on the vacuum, little push. See the yellow coming out of it? Brought out. Shut off the vacuum, and you can tell right here in the water, you can see that we pulled out a good bit of dirt right from the start, and that actually looks good for one pass. Now I'm going to switch over to the upholstery tool because again I like to use this one. I can push down harder and get even more vacuum out of it. It's got such a strong suction that I'm going to have to really hold down on the carpet, okay? But I actually scrub with this one and steam and inject at the same time, and then I'll vacuum it right back up. So Let's go ahead and get started again. I'm going to do both. Steam it. Now the really deep stains, you might have to switch over to a brush, maybe a nylon brush or something like that. This is a lot of grease, axle grease and stuff like that, and battery acid. It's burned into the carpet fibers, so I don't expect to get that all up, but I'm going to pull a lot of junk out of here in just a second. Alright, let's stop that, and I will have to hold it, like I said. Turn on the vacuum. Watch what we get in here. Okay, so I went ahead and used the clear tool to show you a little bit of cleaning with that. I'm going to use the upholstery tool, and I want you to see what we like to do, or we can do with this unit, is steam, vacuum, and inject all at the same time. So you're actually putting it down, putting the liquid down, you're steaming it, and we're pulling it back out at the same time. So it's a pretty nice feature. Let me go ahead and turn the injection on, and turn the steam on, and now vacuum. I'll shut that off, use the vacuum. Now this carpet is very much basically just a little bit wet to the touch. You can come back over and just detach this, put in your turbo brush, and it will allow you to feather your carpet back up. So turn on the vacuum and you'll see this start to pull. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a jet nozzle on, and for the deeper areas where it has some real grease staining right here, I'm just going to hit that real quick with a nylon brush and pull some of that out. We'll use the steam, and now you're not going to be able to vacuum with the tip, but if you remove this section, you can get this crevice tool in some small areas, like say for instance on door jambs and stuff like that, window tracks and so on. So let me attach this one, and I'm going to hit this small grease area right here with some steam and injection. And just kind of go back and forth across the fibers, because it's going to try and move the fibers back and forth, and that way you can actually get a little bit more clean on the fibers with the bristle brush. And then I'm going to vacuum this. And although it's it's not completely dry yet, there's not very much water left in the carpet, and we'll go over it with your and you can see that stain from the grease has pretty much been eliminated. So what I want to do now is just take this and loosen it up. Let me move the carpet. And that little bit of work that we just did, I'm going to set the top of the unit out. Now that's not good right there. And let me grab the camera and actually take you over the top of the reservoir so you can see what actually just came out of that little bitty carpet. So let's go here. What do you think? It's lovely. You never know that there was that much dirt in there, but this thing has fantastic pull. All right, well, there's our first couple lessons, and I appreciate you taking the time with me, and hope you love your Desi. Thanks.